We have 25,000 artwork here from different artists and they're whole Nigerians. And every artwork here has a cell. This is the first floor and 3 more floors to go. And there's a staircase over there. So your tour guide is gonna continue from where I stopped.
Three works that you see in front of you here, they're by Kende Balogun. And what's interesting about his work is that he uses his finger. So instead of using a typical paintbrush, everything you see in the patterns of the women's clothing is all done by his finger. And he uses oil and acrylic on canvas. And then the other thing you'll notice is that you normally have the women as adults and then some smaller children or women in the picture. So he's always showing how things are in generations. So you'll see women on the back, or the younger children. This is about succession planning. It's something we don't do often enough in Nigeria. We have these amazing businesses, but it normally dies with that same generation that built it because we don't like to plan for if things go wrong. But the truth is, everybody will eventually leave. Sometimes you might know when it's coming, sometimes you don't. So succession planning is so important. It's all about generation. So he's really big on women empowerment, but also showing how things were always taught through, like trades, were always taught from mother and child before. That's how you would learn a trade if you couldn't go to school. So for example, my mother is a textile artist, or traditionally was a textile artist. So I learned how to produce textile. And it's only if you're from a textile family that you understand the true meaning of Adira patterns. If you are not from a textile family, the only Adira pattern meanings you will learn is the market seller story. That's the story we want you to hear, because that's the sweet story. Whereas when you're from the family, you'll know like, this is actually why you've done this pattern. It means X, Y, Z. So there are some things that have passed through trade, and that's the important thing about succession planning in general. I'm sure you'll all be familiar with Bella Kuti, so I won't dwell too much on that. But the other paintings that you'll see here, these are by Owolani, and they're all in different Nigerian scenes. You've got Lagos filled with traffic, market scene, and showing the chaos, but the energy of Lagos that you can't find anywhere. So the painting straight ahead, it's by Kunle Adegborioye. He's based in London, and he uses screen printing as well as acrylic. And he'll always have these strong images of like faces, of children or people that are looking very serious, of market sellers. And that's because he's trying to show the real reality of things. A lot of times when you are abroad, the depiction of Africa is a starving baby. If you look closely, it's little individual, tiny little men used with iron. So it's about the army, pretty much all these different soldiers and the different forces that can come over. So I think the challenge is we've been ruled by the army was ruled by the army for a long time in Nigeria, and there's still a form of control that we have. We're scared, we're fearful, because we've been under control for a long time. But the army, the soldiers are actually facing downwards. It means there's a time that this fear that we have in general will eventually become overturned. And that's what we need to focus on, is changing that narrative. So how many artists did I...
Lagos, Nigeria, travel waka.